you've eaten today, more than likely you have consumed a food that has been manipulated by science. Up to 80% of processed foods in the United States has something that's been changed by man from the way that it was intended to grow on its own. It all starts with the plant's DNA. Scientists often take a gene that exhibits a desired trait in one species of plants and adds it into a different species of plant. We call this genetic modification. So what's the problem with genetically modified foods and why should we avoid them? Numerous health problems have increased since GMOs were introduced in 1996. The American Academy of Environmental Medicine has cited animal studies showing organ damage, infertility, gastrointestinal, and immune system disorders. Human studies show genetically modified foods can leave material behind inside us, possibly causing long-term problems. The genes injected into genetically modified crops can transfer into the DNA of the bacteria living inside us. There's actually cases where a toxic insecticide produced by genetically modified corn was found in the blood of pregnant women and their unborn fetuses. The number one health concern over genetically modified technology is its capacity to create new allergens in our food supply. Genetic engineering can increase the levels of a naturally occurring allergen already present in a food, or insert allergenic properties into a food that did not previously contain them. It can also result in brand new allergens we have never before known. Not only is allergens a concern, but antibiotic resistance is too. Have you ever been to the doctor and was prescribed an antibiotic only to find out it didn't cure your illness? So you went back to the doctor and was prescribed a different, stronger antibiotic? Well, genetic engineers rely heavily on antibiotics to guide experiments. Antibiotic-resistant cells are used during the genetic modification of plants, and then we consume the food from the plant. This leads to the overuse of antibiotics, which potentially causes the development of antibiotic-resistant pathogens. Do you know whether or not you're eating genetically modified organisms? Well, you're not alone. In the U.S., the federal and state regulations do not require organizations or companies to disclose whether or not a product includes a genetically modified organism. More than 60 countries require genetically modified organism labeling or ban genetically modified organisms altogether. In the U.S., the government oversight of genetic modification is lackadaisical. The FDA does not require a single safety study, does not mandate labeling of GMOs, and allows companies to put their genetically modified foods on the market without even notifying the agency. What can we do as consumers about this? We can avoid GMOs and contribute to consumer rejection, which will eventually force GMOs out of our food supply. How? We can start by buying USDA organic foods. Organic foods are grown from seeds that are not genetically modified. There are brands out there that are GMO-free. If you eat a lot of processed foods, such as canned or packaged products, choose one that's free of GMOs or that's organic. Better yet, eat more whole foods. But whole foods are expensive, you say? Well, there's always the option of growing your own food. Even if you only have a small space, the majority of plants can be grown in containers and even on balconies and patios of an apartment. Not enough space or time to grow your own? Then you can always support your local small-scale farmer by going to your local farmer's market. If neither scenario is an option and you have to shop at a supermarket, then you need to know whether you're going to buy GMO-free foods. The way to do that is you look at the PLU codes on the produce sticker. If the PLU code starts with the number 8, avoid it. It is genetically modified. Organic produce has a 5-digit PLU that begins with the number 9, which indicates that it's certified organic. There's also codes that contain a 4-digit number and means the produce is considered conventional, meaning it is not technically GMO, but may contain pesticides or toxic residue. Now that I've shared with you some health risk of consuming GMOs and how to avoid it, maybe One by one, we can start rejecting genetically modified foods and the companies that produce them. Hopefully in return, this will create a marketing liability and the food companies will get rid of all GMOs in their foods because of consumer rebellion.